Today on CityCast Boise, the Caldwell Night Rodeo is a big deal, and not just in the 2C. To find out why, Evelyn Avitia, Mia Maldonado, and I grabbed our boots and took a trip down to the rowdy side. A couple of buckets of beer later, we're in the chute and ready to share our thoughts on the rodeo's events, fashion, and of course, the food. It's Thursday, August 17th. I'm Emma Arnold, and this is what Boise's talking about. Hi, Mia. Hi, Evelyn. How are my two favorite rodeo queens?
Hey, guys. Doing good.
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
So I was surprised last night. You both have such deep Caldwell roots, but this was your first time going to the Caldwell Night Rodeo. Why? What's going on there?
I mean, I grew up in Caldwell, and it just was never an opportunity for me to go. I just didn't think I knew anyone who was really interested in going to the rodeo, and being in that space just really wasn't an option. And so that sounds kind of bad. Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
You're not from a rodeo family. Like, I know when we've talked farm stuff before, you're like, I have nothing to do with that. I'm from Caldwell, but I'm not part of the farming community and stuff. What about you, Mia? Like, you went to College of Idaho. It's across the street. How did you never, ever go?
Yeah. So I always wondered why there was so much traffic like around the same time as move-in, and like why there was so much noise, why it smelled like cows and crazy parking along the streets. But I never went, and now going was awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad I was able to go.
So had either of you been to a rodeo before at all? Evelyn, is this your first rodeo?
This is not my first rodeo, actually. My very first rodeo was in Lewiston, Idaho. It was cute. And then I grew up seeing in the Mexican culture, they also have their own rodeos. And so seeing those Mexican rodeos is a completely different experience compared to a good old American rodeo.
What about you, Mia? Had you been to a rodeo at all before?
So this was my first professional rodeo here in the U.S., I guess. I had been to the North Idaho Fair when I was 8 years old, and I watched those kids ride sheep. I don't know. What's that called again?
Mutton busting.
Mutton busting.
It's mutton busting, yeah.
But I don't think that counts. But it was really cool. I was amazed that I was like, I want to do that. And then in Mexico in 2012, my uncle took me to watch bullfighting, which was like a traumatizing experience. But that's the extent of my rodeo experience.
Yeah. How about you, Emma? How many rodeos have you been to?
Well, you know what I'm going to say here. A ton of rodeos. I grew up, going to the rodeo. In fact, I was trying to figure out last night, I've probably been to 30 plus rodeos because we went multiple times a year sometimes. I didn't do a ton of mutton busting, but I was in the greased pig race, chase, I guess, technically, as a child up in Salmon, Idaho. I think we did do mutton busting a couple times. But yeah, I've been to a ton of rodeos, and I really liked something I really liked about last night about the Caldwell Night Rodeo is it seems like one of the more humane rodeos. I read that they, and I had talked to a couple people, and they said that they only run the animals one time. The bulls and the horses only get bucked one time. So that way the stress of the night it's pretty minimal for the animals. They have one probably very stressful go running out there, but then after that, they're done for the night. So they don't the calves and stuff don't have multiple runs. So I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that is one of my biggest issues when it comes to a Mexican rodeo is how inhumane everything feels. One of the biggest events that I have witnessed is these cowboys, they get on their horses, they're riding, and it's steer tailing is what the term is called. And the goal is to flip over the bull, grab them by their tail, and they're just yanking them. And I hate it. And I think there's no organization. I'm pretty sure these little bulls or calves or whatever they are going in over and over and over again. They're just being flipped over. Sometimes the horses are being flipped over as well because the calf gets in the way. And I don't know. I just hate that so much.
When something I noticed in the Caldwell Night Rodeo when they were doing the team roping, in some rodeos that I've been to, after they grab the calf by the neck with a rope and then the legs, then they flip them and then they hog tie them also. But they would very quickly let go of the ropes. As soon as they had bagged them and gotten them, they let go of the ropes and pretty minimal hassling of the calves, which I thought was really great. So yeah, that was something I really appreciated too.
Yes, so I agree with Evelyn. I went to Mexico, I think it was 9 or 12, I don't remember, but my uncle took me and my siblings and my grandma. We were little children, and he's like, I'm going to give you the true Mexican experience. So he bought us, our ice creams, and we're just sitting in the stadium, no idea what's happening. These guys come out on their horses with swords, and there's just this angry bull running around, and the goal is to stab it until it passes out, and then they drag it off covered in blood.
Oh gosh.
Sorry if this is too explicit for CityCast. They did this to 10 different bulls, and me and my siblings are there just crying. And I think just generally the animal treatment in the US is significantly better than it is in Mexico. I have relatives that are also involved in horse racing and chicken fights, and I hate it. It's so I can definitely withstand the Caldwell Rodeo. I have no problem with that.
I mean, even the commentators are hyping up, these bulls or the horses and praising them. And I feel that just, that says a lot.
That's true. Actually, some of the bulls were as big as stars as the bull riders, where they were oh, we have Chicken
Big
Hawk,
Papa.
Big Papa. Yeah, they had funny names, and they're oh, this is his first run in a week, and oh, he's a real big rider. Yeah, that was a fun part of it for sure. So yeah, Evelyn, it's funny because I think that a lot of that could be said of some rodeos in the U.S., the inhumane treatment, and I think that's one of the things that makes the Caldwell Night Rodeo special. There seems to be a lot of other things. They seem to do a lot of charity work, a lot of community work. Evelyn, growing up in Caldwell, was the rodeo a big deal? How would you describe the Caldwell rodeo culture?
Yeah, I didn't realize how big of a deal the Caldwell Night Rodeo was until I left Caldwell. And then I came back, and when I was at the University of Idaho, I had friends who would be oh yeah, so you've been to the rodeo. They weren't even from Caldwell, and they'd be oh, the rodeo, hyping it up. And then just their involvement, they really rely on local businesses and their volunteers being a nonprofit organization. And so seeing the community really boost the Caldwell Night Rodeo and, support them and provide that platform for the community to have that space, it is a big deal. And the culture is they're very proud to have the Caldwell Night Rodeo. And so when this season comes around, it is a big deal.
Yeah, it seems like it's a very big deal in town for sure. And I mean, I loved it. I thought it was one of the more fun rodeos that I've ever been to. The crowd, it was packed. We should talk about the crowd really fast. I want to say, love that there is a what they call the civvy side and the rowdy side. And the civvy side is in the shade for people who get there early, who bought tickets on time. And then the rowdy side is in the sun, and it is chaos over there. It was actually very, very rowdy. I didn't think there would be a huge difference, but we all sat on the rowdy side, and I loved that. I thought that was they even have it labeled that way. So, and then the announcers would reference it and say all right, let's hear from the rowdy side. Let's hear from the civvy side. And it does seem like a really steeped culture. People know what to expect when they're there for sure.
Yeah. What a crowd. It was full.
It was
packed. So there was no space available.
Yeah. I was getting competitive with what's the civvy side?
Civvy side, yeah. Our nemesis.
Yeah. So we were on the rowdy side, and the announcers had us do this water bucket race and just passing a giant bucket of water across the seats. And I was come on, guys. I didn't even touch that bucket. I was come on, let's go. And I was we're beating them. And then, of course, we won. I did nothing. I contributed nothing. But I was dang, I really feel a part of this. The energy was so vibrant. Yeah.
I'm a rowdy for sure.
Yeah, we're rowdies for sure. And we went during first responder night, which was fun just for me specifically because I love a firefighter. So there were just firefighters everywhere, which is my favorite. But also it a good vibe. It was family night, first responder night. It did feel a really fun vibe there for sure. So what was your favorite event? Was there anything that you particularly loved or particularly hated even? Mia, you go first.
Yeah, I was impressed with everybody, but I think something that like really made me like super competitive again was the barrel racing. It was all those girls taking their horses going around those 3 barrels. That was like intense. I was like looking at the girl and her horse and looking back at the clock. I'm like, come on, you got this. And I was like, internally, I was stressed. I was just so impressed because I'm sure that takes a lot of training. You know, I have no idea how to ride a horse. And so I was really impressed. I know that takes a lot of skill, but that stood out to me. And I was like, let's go, girls. Girl power right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Evelyn?
I agree. I think Mia and I were the loudest during the barrel racing. We were hyping these women up. I almost felt like there was low-key a little level of disrespect when it comes to barrel racing. I feel like a lot of people kind of lost interest, started
Checked
leaving.
out.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, so the women are coming in and you're not that interested? Or I don't know if that was just me, but I did notice that.
I saw that same thing and I felt the same way. And it felt like a couple times when there were women events, it was like very, when they did the steer roping and they did the women's event for that, it was like very like, oh, time to get a beer, time to get up, which it was just as competitive, just as fast, just as dangerous. I loved the barrel racing. I thought that was super fun. It also like I grew up, riding horses and stuff really kicked me back into horse girl mode. I was like, all right, enough.
Yeah.
I'm ready to get back to my roots. But what I really, really actually like, I guess it's just like kind of boring old school, but the bull riding is so terrifying. Like at the end, like it is so. Every time I see it, I kind of can't believe it's a sport, Like it just looks so dangerous and so like they have to hold on with one hand. They can't touch anything with the other hand. They have to stay on 8 seconds. They're judged on basically some kind of form that I looked up and I still don't really understand. It's basically like, did your neck break or not to me? But I really think the bull riding is still so exciting and still like, still pretty fun and very rowdy too. Like the crowd went very crazy at that point for sure.
Yes. I actually really loved the saddle bronc riding.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that. I was like, what? How are you guys moving like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a couple bull rider friends and I asked them about the Caldwell Rodeo. And apparently the Caldwell Rodeo is like one of the top 5 rodeos in the country and is considered like a bucket list rodeo for a lot of bull riders and bronc riders and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
It's like a gem within the rodeo community and it's one of the last of the season. And so it's like people look forward to it so much. So I think you kind of felt that, right? The crowd was having so much fun, but it seemed like the athletes were also having a really good time too.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool to see so many people from out of state and like even Canada, people like the announcer was so fun. He was like, he came all the way from Canada. Give it up for Canada. Who likes Canada? Or like, it was just so funny. But yeah, it was definitely like wow, okay, Caldwell, look at you.
Speaking of look at you, we have to talk about the fashion. I was blown away. I'm not making fun. Caldwell, if you're listening and you were at the rodeo, I actually was so impressed with Evelyn. You can't see her. She is nodding her head the hardest I've ever seen. Evelyn, it was the styles, the pants, the boots. Oh.
Amazing. The women really pulled through. I was telling Mia, I was like, oh my God, all these women look amazing.
Yeah.
They're so dressed up. I love Western fashion.
Babe City. I saw this gorgeous woman with lace-up black Wranglers. You're picturing something that is not cool, but it was hot. She looked gorgeous. And everybody just had the most beautiful boots. And I love Western wear fashion. And everybody looked so gorgeous. And some really unique looks too. Like if you beforehand said, what are you seeing fashion-wise at the Caldwell Rodeo? I would say, I don't know, Wrangler and some flannel probably, but really some unique and fun looks. Lots of big chunky high heels and they were bringing it for sure.
I agree. And I love that, these cowboys and cowgirls that are performing for us essentially are dressed up too. Like obviously like they look good. I love that you can tell that some of them really put an effort into their outfit with the bright colors and What are their pants called? Mia noted, she was like, I
Chaps?
love
Yeah.
their chaps.
Yeah.
We love their chaps.
Yeah.
I know. Did you see the one cowboy with the fringe on his chaps? And and it was all
Yes.
sequined. And I was like, okay, I love this.
Yeah.
I love it.
loved it. It looks so cool when they're riding a horse, and when they get off, I was like, wow, I want
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. I want to talk about the food. We had a couple really good things and a couple kind of lackluster things. Maybe I'm a little spoiled because we just did the Boise Hawks and the food was pretty blow your mind there. What did you have, Mia? What did you eat?
I got a authentic chimichanga, a chicken chimichanga. I think it was from a local restaurant. It's like the Guadalajara restaurant is what I believe. But it was good. I was really hungry, so I hadn't had dinner, and I saw your husband grab that. I'm like, where'd you get that?
Yeah, he made the right choice. He got a chimichanga, which was pretty delicious, actually. Pretty tasty, great hot sauce. I know that because I got a corn dog, which wasn't very good. And something I like to do in our marriage is order the wrong thing and then switch with him. And then he has to eat the thing that is gross. And then I eat the chimichanga. So that was great for me. But the chimichanga was pretty good. The hot corn dog, I do kind of judge a place by the quality of their corn dog. And I got to say, like 4 out of 10. Sorry, Caldwell Rodeo.
Dang.
It was a very gross corn dog. I didn't even finish it, and neither did Alex. So that's really saying something. Evelyn, what did you get?
Oh, my
Just a bucket of beer.
My dinner was a bucket of Blue Monaco's.
All right.
And beer. And I had a... No, we're not going to keep going.
All right, so bucket. So Evelyn had a bucket for dinner, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I thought that was so cute. I was like, these people carrying around their buckets full of drinks, having a good time on the rowdy side. It was great.
Yeah, I was, when you came back with the bucket, I was like, do you get to keep the bucket? And you were like, I think so. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing. You're like, well, it was like $30. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, you paid for a bucket, I suppose. But yeah, you got to keep it. You and all your buds, you got to leave with buckets. So that's fun. So the food, honestly, a little mixed, a little half and half. I did see they had some decent nachos, a couple other things. So what do we think overall? Are you going to go to the Caldwell Rodeo again? Are you going to check out other rodeos? What do you think?
Absolutely. Next year, I'm buying the 5-day pass. I'll be there every night.
You're going to have so many buckets. What about you, Mia?
Yes, I would go again. And it's cool that they have different themes each night. I've heard the one on the weekend is like really good. This year it's sold out, according to some of my friends that are like, oh, I wanted to go to the one on Saturday. So I feel really lucky that I was able to go. But definitely I would love to go. The energy was just it was so much fun. So yeah, I'm going again, and I'm going to drag all my friends and family with me so they can experience this as well.
Yeah, same. I was really bummed that I didn't make my kids come because I asked if they wanted to come and they were kind of like, eh. And I wish they had because I think they actually would have had a total blast. Well, there are still some tickets available for tonight, but Friday and Saturday, like you said, are sold out, which of course speaks to how popular this event is in the community. And I don't know. I think that's 3 recommends right there for the Caldwell Rodeo. I don't even know. I guess we love the Boise Hawks too, so it's not like it's not like we don't always have fun in whatever we're doing, but. Well, this was such a blast. I had so much fun with you last night. I loved getting to see your rodeo looks, and I will see you next year. And I feel like I dressed down a little bit, so be prepared. Be prepared for some fringe and some chaps next year.
Well, can't wait to see it. Yeehaw. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
That's all for today here on CityCast Boise. If you enjoyed the show, you're going to love our rodeo pics on Instagram. We'll be back tomorrow morning for your weekly news roundup. Bye.
I want a country man. All right.
All right. So if you're listening and you are a cowboy, you can hit Evelyn up on her Instagram because she's looking for a Bronco. All right.